Howdy, it's me, Manic Mark, coming to you from the bunker system located underneath the Artville town somewhere in the jungles of the Midwest. And today I'm just coming to you mostly with just stories, although I got a record in the mail. And I'm going to play, it's a pretty lounge record. I'm going to play a cover of YMCA by the Continentals, and you've never heard it done quite this way. Anyway, so the deal is coming to you with the story because it's I got to talk about this rib place that opened up here in Cincinnati not too long ago. I guess about 6 months. Okay, it's in. It used to be there's a collectible antique store that out there I've gone to a million times, but they changed hands. It's been 10 years since I've been out there, but it was always a really rough part of town. Okay. But because it's along the river, some money's moved in, and they've like forced some people out and built condos and junk like that. Well, anyway, this little area is still kind of rough, and they put this restaurant in this two-story frame house, and it basically the living room is the dining room. What would be the living room of the house is the dining room. And it's become so popular that they put tents. They put a tent outside. I mean, so that people. I was there Thursday, and you would think twice now, twice in 2 weeks. That's in 1 week. That's how much I liked it. Oh, and then I'll put a picture up in the living room, the dining room. You see the record player. Okay, they play records all day, right through the guitar amp. I mean, it's just great. So I told them I'd bring them a box of records. I'm going to bring them a box of records that they can just have. I'm going to donate them. They were thrilled about that. Okay, so but the thing of it is, it's like a dry rub rib. Okay, with the smoke out back. Not like most of the places around here, like they're wet. It's a wet, but this is dry rub. I think I got that right. You know, I'm not one of those barbecue people that know the science of barbecue. I just kind of almost know the difference between the two basic varieties. Anyway, really good. And it's just a great atmosphere because it's just kind of like you walk into a house and you go up to the counter and you can sit down or go outside and they come out and they yell your name, you know, and you come under another little tent and you pick up your food and you eat it, and it's really good. And the sides are really good too, just like macaroni and coleslaw, of course. And a jambalaya, grits. I got to try that. People tell me that everybody that's tried it tells me, but the macaroni and cheeses is like liquid cheese. It's just good. It's just really good. Anyway, okay, so that's the story. Now, the main part of the story for tonight is I went to pick up my artwork. Okay, the art show closed, and they had this thing called a closing reception. Okay, and it was just kind of nice to go in and decompress. I mean, you know, and a few people showed up. But there was two interesting things that happened. I had one guy just walk in off the street, and he's wearing a T-shirt that says, "In dog beers, I've only had one." Okay, and he's got like, you know, wraparound sunglasses on, and he's looking at my stuff, and he points to this. He goes, "Why you have the same shape in all these paintings?" And he's like, "What shape?" He goes, "The cactus." And I said, "Cactus?" And he points. I said, "Oh, that's representation for." Like a tree. I know it looks like a cactus, but he goes, "Well, I'm from the Southwest, and that looks like a cactus." He wanted it to be a cactus. And I said, "Well, it's just kind of like a plant, you know." He goes, "Oh, there it is." I said, there it's a plant. Here it's a tree." And he goes, "Oh, there it's over." I said, "That's an underwater plant. There, an underwater cactus." And then he said, "Well, why do you do that? What did you?" And I tried to explain a few paintings to him and everything, and then he walked out. Okay, so, and I was there with another artist, the other artist that did the show with me, a really nice guy. It was a pleasure to meet him. And out front, this is a congested area. There's a bar, and there's a vintage clothing store and everything, and there's not very many places to park. And they had a moped meeting where the moped people got together to drink beer at the bar. So there were like 75 mopeds, and outside and right in front of the building there's a green car, a Honda, I think, and then behind it there is a van, and the van is completely covered all the way around with like Marine Corps stickers and Empty the Magazine and Target, Shoot to Kill, and So somebody got, I didn't pay attention, somebody got in it, and they just backed up a little bit and almost knocked the moped the whole row over. They didn't do that. They pulled forward and just clipped the car in front of them, just like a little bit of like, yank. And I thought, did they just hit that car? And somebody else said, I think he just hit the car. And then the woman inside said, Scott, he hit your car, and that's the artist. Oh, I felt so bad for him. The guy, he went up the street and came back. And of course, just like that little, the new modern cars, just that little, like, dink, just a little tiny, and the bumpers kind of pushed over, and the little part of the quarter panels kind of pushed over on the other side. So the guy comes back, and he's going through the whole thing, exchange, and this guy comes back and says, the guy says he's on Vicodin and a morphine drip, you know, like. Anyway, that was, I just felt so sorry at the end of the whole deal, and he was tired, he worked all day, felt really sorry for him, but, oh, so yeah, that's right, to close out the stories, one of the my paintings that sold, is going, to live with a professor at Princeton University. That's right. Manic Mark's moving on up somewhere. And it was one of my favorite paintings too. That is going to Princeton University, highfalutin professor type up there.
Yourself off the ground, I said, young man, there's a winner in town, there's no need to be unhappy. Young man, there's a place you can go, I said, young man, when you're short on your dough, you can stay there, and I'm sure you will find many ways to have a good time. It's fun to stay at the YMCA, it's fun to stay at your pride on the shelf and just go there to the YMCA. I'm sure they can help you today. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. They have everything for young men to enjoy. You can hang out with all the boys. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the once in your shoes, I said I was down and out with the blues. I felt no man cared if I were alive. I felt the whole world was so jive. That's when someone came up to me and said, young man, take a walk up the street to a place there called the YMCA. They can stop you back on your way. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. They have everything for
Anyway, so I went to pick up the last of my stuff because I hadn't gotten all of it. It's 2 truckloads. And these are the little things that meant the most to me. One, during the show, there was a guy there that really got what I was doing, and you know, he just got it, which was just a lot of fun. Now, the 2 things were a couple of sculptures, 3D wood things I went to pick up, and there was a young man there who was working on our project with some other people in the basement and just happened to come up when I was taking it apart. I got to talking to him, and he said, "Oh, are you the artist?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, this is really nice stuff." And then he said, "And I love your music." And I'd forgotten that I had left like 3 of my CDs there, Manic Mark music on it. And he goes, "Where can I?" He goes, "I would buy a CD, you know." And I said, "Well, they're just all online. You just go listen to them." But that was just really nice. It's like the unexpected compliments. While I love Indian food, it always makes me really tired. And then the next day, my body's like, "Hey, you shouldn't have eaten that." So it makes me wonder why, you know, in India, with everybody eating food like that, is everybody waking up the next day, like everybody in India going, "Oh my God, that was too spicy," or, you know, like I shouldn't have eaten all that curry or something like that? I turned the fountain on outside. I got to take plants out. Oh, that's the other thing. Oh. They have this leaky spot in the kitchen. There's all the water from the roof comes out in one spot, and it's over the kitchen. And so it leaked, and I worked on it, and it's been bothering me for years, and I've worked on it, and I finally tore it apart again, where the water goes through and comes out, and I fixed it all, and for 3 years, it was dry. So last fall I decided to fix that spot, the drywall and everything. I fixed it, and it leaked over the winter. So, and I've looked at it and I have no idea. It looks all fine. It's just home ownership. It's just, so the question is, when dealing with home ownership, is when, as you get older, when do you decide that that's the end of it? I'm going to let the house turn into the creepy old house that the kids stay away from because they're afraid that the person inside practices voodoo and satanic devil worship, and if they step in the yard, they'll end up nailed to a flaming board covered in flames or something. You know, that's the thing about when do you make that shift to like taking care of everything, to not giving a shit, and spending the last 10 years of your life letting everything you own fall apart to hell in a handbag. Then what happens is, when everything is a total wreck, you know there's going to be some young person sniffing around, and another collector, just like I was, me, Manic Mark, back in the day, like, "Hey, here's a rundown old house, and there's a fabled mythical collection of real fake outsider art in the house stacked up that nobody wanted at the time, but now there could be like more magic involved. If I could just get in, there could be magic to be had, treasures and magic. If I could just make it past the barbed wire and the boarded up, rusting garage door, the crumbling, moldy ceiling falling in, the 1980s Southwestern kitchen look, aging kitchen look, the original toilet seat, which I keep putting Bondo on, you know, kind of to keep it together. So, because it's cut, and if you get another one, it's not going to look the same. So I keep fixing it. And the screws get loose, and there's stuff stacked up. That kind of treasure and magic, that's what they'll be looking for. If they'll leave their calling cards on the door. Collectibles and antiques, New York art dealer. You know, there'll be all these calling cards stuffed in the door that I don't use, and I'll just laugh at, like, ah ha ha ha! You guys are so funny. You just sit out there and just. That's, never mind. That whole story was just stupid. I don't even know why I told it.